Welcome to the Small Business Minute. Today's topic is, how much time do you really have? One of the biggest challenges of a service business is managing your inventory. Now you may wonder what inventory, besides a few stationery supplies you may have, need to be managed. Well, unlike a manufacturing, retail, or a distribution business where you have physical inventory that needs to be stored, sold, and then replenished, service businesses, on the other hand, have a single and very unique inventory: time. Because as a service business, your product is the knowledge that you and your staff carry around in your head. Putting this knowledge or expertise to work is how you generate your revenue, and that's usually in the form of hours worked. It can be argued that service technicians like appliance or auto repair have inventory, but for the most part, you hire them for their knowledge, and they in turn charge you for the time it takes to fix the problem. Therefore, the parts, although important, are secondary to the diagnostic skills the technician possesses. Similarly, sales and marketing service companies also generate revenue by the hour. However, it is rarely shown as such, as most fees are displayed as a total for a given project. But all the fees are calculated as an estimate of how much time or hours are involved in executing the project by the various staff members. One of the biggest issues with owners of service businesses is understanding that their inventory is finite and that they should be running their companies with that in mind. Unfortunately, this is contrary to how many of these businesses operate. They assume that they can just put in more time and work longer hours. Although feasible for the short term, it is rarely a long-term strategy, yet so many continue to do so. There are some advantages to managing your business based on your available inventory of time. First off, it should bring a sense of balance to a business. Balance as in work-life balance. Secondly, it would allow you to establish realistic delivery timelines to the customer. Let's be honest, we all think we can complete an assignment quicker than reality dictates, but that just stresses out our staff and annoys the client when we're late. So being realistic can reduce the occurrence of both. Additional benefits of managing your inventory can be significant on the financial front. Foremost, you'll quickly understand whether you're charging enough and whether your existing inventory of hours available can support your financial demands. Furthermore, you should also discover how efficient or inefficient your organization is and where improvements can be made. Increases in efficiencies can greatly enhance your profitability. A simple metric such as revenue per hour is a great place to start in benchmarking any improvements. This calculation is done by simply dividing your total revenue by your total payroll hours for any given period, including your own. So how do you calculate this inventory? Well, it's easier than you think, and it really doesn't matter whether your staff is making $20 an hour or $200 an hour. It's the exact same calculation. Earning a higher hourly rate does not give you more hours in a day, as we all get the same 24. So before doing this exercise, most owners assume they have a 40-hour week or 2,080 hours per year per employee that are available to them. However, after taking into account vacations, stat holidays, sick days, and coffee breaks, that number is reduced by 11% to 1,855 hours per year, or a loss of almost 6 weeks out of the 52-week year. This number actually gets worse if employees are required to travel to clients, as in the case with a repair technician or a salesperson. You can easily lose an additional 2 hours per day, which is a potential loss of an additional 13 weeks per annum. So now we're down to 33 weeks of billable time in a year, or 1,335 hours, from a high of 2,080. That's a 36% reduction in available inventory or billable time. Once you understand how much available time you have, you can now start to make realistic assumptions and projections. Of course, the challenge to all service businesses is the ability to maximize your available time inventory and make sure it's productive. Unfortunately, the only way to increase your inventory in a service business is to hire more people. But realistically, that's not necessarily the best option, especially if you have demand peaks and valleys throughout the year. Finding tools or processes to increase productivity might be a better avenue to maximize your existing inventory. Realistically, we're all faced with slack periods where there's insufficient demand and people are not busy. Sadly, you can't store any unused time for future use, because once that minute hand on the clock moves forward, you have lost that inventory forever. So sit down with your staff and explain the impact they can have on the business by being more efficient. Then ask them where the bottlenecks are and their suggestions to get rid of them. Because once that inventory is gone, it's gone. I'm Greg Weatherden, and this has been your Small Business Minute.